So until now we had a look at how we could place JavaScript code in our HTML document and execute it. Now imagine you have a more complex application with a lot more code than one single line like we currently do. In this case, it would not be that great if all of that code would be in your HTML document. Why wouldn't that be great? Well, first of all, because it would be very hard for you yourself as a developer to work with that big file of JavaScript code. Therefore, it's very common and indeed best practice, of course, to actually outsource your JavaScript code in separate files, which you then import into your HTML document, so that you don't have the JavaScript code in the HTML document itself. An easy way to outsource this is to simply import another file where you hold your code. Now, unfortunately, I can't really demonstrate this here with JSBin. Therefore, for this example, we're heading to another page, plunker without an u.co, which is kind of a similar tool, but follows a different approach in some places. And here, as you can see, it looks a bit similar here, but it doesn't have that extra console. Indeed, here instead, we just see the web page here being loaded. Here you can already see we got such an import here. And we're importing, as it looks like this, script.js file. Now, as you see for the import, we still use script tags, and notice that we have an opening and closing tag even though there is no code between the tags. And we have this source or src attribute on the opening script tag where we specify the path to the file we want to import, script.js in this case. Now script.js can hold any code we might want to have. So if I enter console log hello there here, what do you think we'll see in the console? Well, first we need to have a console to begin with. So I'll open my developer tools here in Chrome, which I can do with hitting Command, Alt, and then I, or Control, Alt, and I on Windows, or of course open them from the menu by going to View, Developer, Developers, or just the JavaScript console here. And there you can see we also got this hello there text, even though of course in the index.html file we don't have that hello there anywhere, but we're importing this file, which again will be executed immediately. So the behavior does not change. If you have code in an external file, this code will be executed as soon as JavaScript finds this file. And therefore it's really just a way to restructure your code and get rid of the code in your HTML file. Now, of course, you might not only import this in the head section, but in the body section as well, which, as it was before, is a good practice to make sure that your code actually gets executed last. As you see, we have this opening and closing tag and nothing between. Can't we just write this? Well, let's test this. I clear my console here and make this a bit bigger. And let's see what happens if I click this refresh button. Nothing happens. We don't see hello there. So the code is not getting executed. And the reason for this is that the script tag always has to have an opening and closing tag. That's kind of a historic thing that it, well, used to be written like this with code between the opening and closing tag. And it's still the case. As you see, it now prints again, and we have to provide the opening and closing tag when referencing external files, even though there is no code between the two tags. That being said, what does happen if we put code between the opening and closing tag? So let's say I write hello from between here, and I save this. Well, as you see, we still only got hello there here. We're not seeing hello from between, even though it has a typo. So why is this the case? Why don't we see this code being executed? Because the browser won't do that. The browser sees that we import a file here, and therefore it will still execute that file. it doesn't care what we write between the opening and closing tags. It will indeed just ignore everything between the opening and closing tag and only execute the code in the imported file. So this code would only run if you would get rid of the import here, like this. Now you see we're getting hello from between. So I'll get back to importing from script.js and I'll get rid of this code between the opening and closing tag. Now, can we also import multiple files? Let's try it. I'm going to copy this import and I'll name this file script2. Now, as you see, I'm currently getting an error that there is no script2.js file. And if I click on new file here and create the script2.js file, and in here I write console log script2, and I save this, you see we get hello there and script2. And I'll clear my console to see this a bit better. Hello there and script2. So both scripts are getting executed, and they get executed in the order we specified the imports here. That of course is important. If you have one file depending on the other code being run, then you need to put the file depending on that after the first file, otherwise this code would not be executed yet. So this ordering here is pretty clear and pretty important. Also, oftentimes you might use third-party libraries, like for example jQuery. And if you want to use functions from jQuery, you have to make sure that the jQuery import comes first before you import your code depending on it. Now you can change this behavior. There is another attribute you can use. I can put the defer attribute on this first script here. And as you see now, script2 gets executed first before hello there. So defer basically tells the browser, wait with this script and only load it after all the other scripts which don't have defer on them were executed. Now you can use this, but honestly, it's really better to just change the ordering because that is just confusing. And if you're working together with other developers or you yourself forget that you put defer on such an import, you might be wondering why this isn't working the way it should. And therefore, well, I would strongly recommend not using defer and instead just placing the imports in the order they should be placed.